Here for the conversation on the GMX Music Streaming Platform and all the matters, arise. And I have already Uncle Ken, and I've also been joined by the acting CEO of GHAMRO, and in the person of Jackson Breto. Before we even get into this whole streaming thing, I want to have a chat with him for a while because, since he was appointed, we've not spoken yet. Hello, Jackson.
Hi, Kwame.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Your first time being here, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so you are the acting CEO of GHAMRO.
Yeah.
For how long have you been acting?
Yeah, let's say 7 months. Yeah.
Oh, 7?
6-7 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Abraham went on retirement on 14 February 2024. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's retired.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell us.
He didn't tell us.
Like we go do some party giver or something. No send off party yet. No send off party yet.
He's the kind of, he doesn't really want parties and all that kind of stuff. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, for how long have you been with GHAMRO as an institution?
Okay. I began with GHAMRO as an intern in 2015.
Okay.
I could vividly remember 1st June 2015 at the Cultural Center.
Wow.
Kumasi, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so that was where I began. And so far I'm getting close to 10 years.
Wow.
Serving GHAMRO, yes. In Ashanti region, I was a regional officer before I was asked to step in following Abraham's retirement.
Okay, so you used to be in the Ashanti region.
Exactly. I've been the head of Ashanti, head of Northern Sector. At least in Ashanti region, I've really worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
How has the work been so far for the past months that you've been in office?
Well, Kwame, I have been with GHAMRO for, like I mentioned, for close to 10 years.
Yeah.
And so it's not really new, or something huge, or even though it's a new opportunity, but I also see it as very challenging. Not the new role, but the work at GHAMRO, because an institution when all the odds are against us. From we not having proper structures to the fact that 90% of prime users, broadcasting networks, have actually deliberately not to pay for the use of music. I choose my words carefully, deliberately, because it's different when he or she doesn't know he's supposed to pay.
Okay.
But then when the person knows that he's supposed to pay and it's not actually coming forth, then you could see that it's deliberate. Sometimes it has to end up in court, 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. And you have to wait, and at the end of the day, the end product, that is the royalties you're supposed to distribute, are meager. And GHAMRO only receives the, let me use the Gen Z word, the cooking. Yes, GHAMRO only receives the cooking, and it's very challenging. I won't stop to say GHAMRO's duties have never been challenging. If you look at the general Ghanaian attitude to paying for the use of music, and I'll quote Abraham that Ghanaians do not have a culture for paying for the use of music, and so it's very difficult. Personally working in Ashanti region, I have been arrested before. Police that we thought they knew our work and all that have actually arrested me in exercise of our duties.
Wow.
Yes, exactly. So it's not easy. It's not easy, but that is what we sworn to do to help the industry. So yeah.
Now, what is the state of your license now, the GHAMRO license?
Kwame, I believe you followed GHAMRO issues for quite some time now. Somewhere around last year, we made it public that our license was under renewal with the Office of the Attorney Generals and Minister of Justice. And between that time and now, we've been having massive conversation with the office. And as you rightly heard, the Vice President at the launch of the GMX mentioned that he's also going to see to the regularization of all these things. It's still on course, and the office is considering our renewal of our license.
Wow. Joy 99.7 FM, this is the Super Station, and we're having a conversation on the GMX Music Streaming Platform. In the meantime, though, we have with us Jackson Breto. He's the acting CEO of GHAMRO, the Ghana Music Rights Organization, and they're all here today for us to have this conversation. We've also been joined by Richmond Adu-Poku. Yes, Richmond Adu-Poku is a lead for Ghana Music Live. He's the General Secretary for GAPI, Ghana Association of Phonographic Industries. It's phonographic industries. I have Appier-Sign Solomon. He is a software engineer, and they're all here. But in the meantime, let's have a chat with Jackson. So Jackson, recently we heard this whole GMX issue, and even before we get there, let me start on a very proper note. So on 16th October 2024, the Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who is also the flag bearer of the NPP, announced the establishment of a streaming platform for the creative industry. And he said this during a meeting with the creative arts fraternity at Alisa Hotel that was on October 16. Take a listen.
As I said, one of the meetings I was to have today was to get an update and we'll take some decisions on the streaming platform. On the streaming platform, I am very happy to let you know that the work has been completed. The work has been completed, and we have joint work between Musica, GHAMRO, the music producers, and the private sector, and it has been completed. And we are going to support this and make sure that we take care of the development expenses related to this platform for the industry. So in all, I think today I was satisfied after the various presentations that were made to me that we are ready to outdoor this new local streaming platform for Ghanaian musicians and film producers. So I think in all likelihood next month, which is the month of November, we will launch Ghana's first local streaming platform. We are going to also look at the issue of royalties, and the GHAMRO platform will be the next one. And I believe that very soon we are going to be announcing that one as well, so that they can also make sure that all the artists get their shares of the royalties. So that work is also very, very, very far advanced, and I expect that we'll also support the expenses in the development of that platform, and we'll make the announcement very soon. As Ghanaians must begin, I think why we need a Ghana music streaming app is also for local empowerment of our industry. Empowerment of our industry. In this world, if you look at the world of the digital revolution, you are either a developer of apps or a user of apps. That is the dichotomy. You're either developing or you're using. The developers are those who make money, right? The users use it and they pay. But the real money is made by the developers. So it is very important to have local ownership and empowerment in some of these apps, because otherwise you will have to use Spotify and other scoring apps that you don't make much money out of because you are not the developer of those apps. So the Ghana Music Experience, GMX, ladies and gentlemen, is more than just a music streaming device, as was just illustrated. It is much more than that. It is an embodiment of what it means to preserve our culture, support our artists, and leverage technology to foster economic growth within the creative arts. There are a myriad of streaming platforms. However, having one that is purely dedicated to Ghanaian music and musicians is a welcome addition in our digitalization journey as a country. The vast fan base of every Ghanaian musician is in Ghana, and yet this is where our musicians make the least money because of piracy and foreign streaming services that do not promote our artists in a prominent manner and does not pay adequately to impact the livelihoods of our musicians in a significant manner. I must, however, admit that having a dedicated Ghanaian music streaming platform is the first of many steps that must be taken to help our musicians. All of us as Ghanaians must begin to appreciate our musicians through the culture of paying for music we listen to.
Okay, so the first voice we listened to was Dr. Bawumia when he met the creative arts stakeholders on 16th October at the Alisa Hotel. The second one was when he spoke at the launch of the Ghana Music Experience streaming app at the Icon Center on October 30, 2024. During the same launch, Akisi Ackah, who is the director in charge of marketing at GMX, said the platform will be operational in 2025. She said the system will show revenue splits and even make room for content from people's live events and all that. Take a listen to Akisi.
The split sheet is actually also incorporated into the music streaming app. So it's just not about a streaming app, like I said before. So it's also embedded in the whole process. Whoever streams your music, how often it's streamed, how much is streamed, it will all be very visible to you in terms of what has been agreed on the split sheet. And the music app, the streaming app, is not just about any streaming app. This is actually a Ghana-owned streaming app. So we have a broad catalog of Ghanaian music, right from the goalposts, from the forebearers who really started a lot of our musical journeys, to our amazing trailblazers of today, some of whom are seated right here with us. So we actually will enjoy a full catalog of music. Not only that, the GMX app is actually also giving us the benefit to really enjoy music even before it's released. So fresh releases, and we can also enjoy the backstage footages from our artists, and also the conversations that we have behind the scenes and get to know them better on the app as well. The app is also connected to the social media, so what best can you have not to enjoy your music just by yourself, but to enjoy with the whole community of your friends and family. And you can share the gist with your friends and family, all the conversation, all the hot trends that's happening with your friends and family in connection with the GMX Music Streaming app as well. Again, not only, I'm just talking about the special features on top of and above a regular streaming app. So on top of this, you'd also have the opportunity to hear some podcasts from our favorite artists or just, heroes within our communities, and then our favorite motivational speakers. We'll hear from them on the app as well. Also, we have from our churches as well. Music from our churches also incorporated into the app. And then we also get to see where our artists are going to have a performance, buy our tickets from the app, and also buy some merchandise from them as well. So these are special features that have been added onto the app to give it a much more complete experience.
And last week, Akisi Ackah spoke on Hit FM and explained how a music monitoring component has been incorporated into the streaming platform.
With time as well, this will also be, integrated with your station, the TV stations, wherever else the artist's music is played, commercially, and it's all whatever goes, however you play, how often you play his music, it shows on his monitoring platform. However, how frequently or which program you play on, it shows on their monitoring platform. So there's clear visibility. Whatever happens with that music, with that work, it shows, and it's actually the royalties are calculated at the back end based on the split sheet agreement. So there's clear visibility everywhere, and it's all interconnected and very visible for all to see.
Okay, so you mentioned that the app will forward, the forward technology part of it would be connecting to radio station and TV station where music where music will be used and revenue generated for the artists as well. I'm thinking, isn't that for GHAMRO or you? Exactly. So really, as we mentioned before, we are really using this process to support the music industry. So GHAMRO is actually in charge of this. It's actually owned. This part of the components of the tool is owned by GHAMRO. That is the monitoring part of it.
The monitoring platform, exactly. So we are just coordinating our streaming end to feed into the monitoring platform for GHAMRO. And then, we are also, with the split sheet from the studio, also connecting that to information to GHAMRO to monitor.
Then Akisi touched on whether government was supporting them financially. And mind you, the vice president had said at the launch and at the meeting with the creatives, the government was going to take care of the development expenses of the streaming app. But this was Akisi's explanation.
The conversation at that time was wanting to really understand whether government is infusing funds into the project. But then there are various ways of, partnering with an entity or with the government. And what we are deriving from the government is not necessarily funds, but also operational, and then other support that we can get from the government. And mainly because the government owns our, regulates our culture, helps us build our culture through the Ministry of Art and Culture. And earlier on, I mentioned, how the whole app is connected to addressing some industry concerns through GHAMRO. GHAMRO works in connection with the Ministry of Art and Culture, and that's where the partnership comes in. That's where the support comes in. And on top of that, when it comes to the regulatory environment, who is in a better place to really champion the regulatory environment than the government? So the government is working through the ministries, the government through the ministries is helping us with the regulatory environment, which goes to support the whole industry at large with regard to issues like piracy and connecting issues around that. So, like I mentioned, it's an integrated tool, but there's a GHAMRO component of the tool that is owned by GHAMRO, and that's what he was referring to when with regard to development expenses and all that, and not the streaming tool. It's a GHAMRO bit of it, the monitoring tool for GHAMRO.
Joy 99.7 FM, you just heard all these voices from the meeting with the creatives to the launch of the Ghana Music Experience streaming app to interviews that Akisi Ackah, Director of Marketing at GMX, had with Hits FM last week. We're here on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Showbiz A-Z. My name is Kwame Dadzie, and today we're taking a look at the streaming platform, the GMX Music Streaming Platform, and all the issues surrounding this particular one. I have in the studio Solomon Appier-Sign. He's a software engineer. Let me say hi to Solomon. Hello, Solo.
Hello.
You good?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well too. Welcome to the show. Let me say hi to Seven Xavier. He is president for Ghana Music Alliance. Seven.
Shall I help you?
Addy.
You were sitting next to me at the launch, so whatever I saw, you also saw.
No, you may have seen something I didn't see. And then I have Richmond Adu-Poku, who is the lead for Ghana Music Live. He's a general secretary for GAPI. He's here with us, and he's been writing some brilliant articles of late on myjoyonline.com. Richmond.
Hi.
Hello. How are you doing well?
Yes, I'm awesome.
Nice. Now, let me start this way. I'll come back to you, Jackson. I've spoken to you already, but let me start with you, Seven. How do you feel about this whole new app, Ghanaian-owned music streaming platform. How do you feel about it, GMX?
Oh, I mean, it's good that somebody is thinking about the industry to solve problems. I mean, these days, some well thought of apps can solve problems, but unfortunately, we just think as people in the industry, this app is not really going to solve our core problems. Our core problems is not another app or an app for streaming. That is not our core problem.
Why do you say that?
I mean, we've been screaming for years about GHAMRO. And that's our royalties, basically. That is our problem. That is what one problem we want solved. I mean, if the vice president had talked to like necessary people or people who actually for the industry, maybe they would have understood better. I mean, it would have probably cost less.
Provisions for a component of the app.
Well, they should have gone. Well, they should have gone with that and not even mentioned a streaming app, in my opinion.
But can't we do two things at the same time? The
streaming app, see, the app can work. Like, I have no doubt that the app works actually, but the business part of it is what it's looking at what they are doing. They have no clue what they are doing, and that might not work.
Why do you say they don't have any clue? They have a whole enterprise. They have marketing directors. They have a system.
So they boom play with all that Chinese money packed up like yesterday or so and left.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
But I hear Paul Azuma, sent a message to the host of Showbiz Review Extra this morning that it wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Well, another thing is I can't really put out their business too much, but you have to know their business was not music streaming.
Okay, let's move from Boomplay to GMX now.
So
why do you think GMX can't survive?
And in terms of business, not the app. The app can work. I have no doubt the app can work. But if you look at, first of all, they are promising to payouts. The payouts will be better than other streaming services. And yes, two ways that they are going to get money. That's subscriptions and ad revenue. Now, the way most of the other ones work is a GAPI, for example, like a union of the big labels. Basically, it's their content that you're going to use for your business.
Okay.
So they will own part of your company. I don't think we've talked about that. That has been talked about. That has been looked at. If you remember, not too long ago, TikTok, the major labels were saying they were going to take them. Yeah, that's the thing. They want revenue, like ad revenue and everything that TikTok gets. They want to get some because your whole app relies on our content, our property, basically. So they don't really say it in such plain language. But that is what it is. Like they need more than, and that's the reason why labels are okay with streaming services, but artists are not okay with streaming services because the labels will get paid anyway, bigger money because they're getting like revenue from the company, not the chump change they pay to artists. And even that money that you're paying to artists, labels still take 80% of it and give 20% of that to artists. So there's a bigger problem when it comes to the business part of it to make it work, and I don't think they figured that out yet.
I've heard Akisi say that they're in talks with all these labels to fashion out.
In Ghana, I'm guessing.
Okay.
So that would be, GAPI. GAPI has every label under, I'm guessing, or the big music producers under their umbrella. So yeah, they should, if GAPI knows their business too, they should be aiming for a piece of the company, percentage of the company, and not even.
I'll come back to you. Let me go to GAPI now. GAPI, your name has been mentioned as one of the groups that is involved in this whole GMX. What's your role in this business?
I think GAPI, like GHAMRO and Music, being major stakeholders in our industry, were consulted when they had the idea. We bounced off a few ideas, and yes, the platform was built. Let me take the opportunity to make a point. Disagree with my friend.
No, before you disagree with him, I want to understand your role in GMX proper.
Okay.
You offered advice. You offered.
Yes. We offered a lot of advice.
Okay.
Some of which we have seen them take. Others we're hoping.
Which ones are they implementing so far?
So in our dealings with them, we realized they are business people. Okay, they are business people. However, business isn't the only thing you need in this industry. The business of this industry is different from business as usual. And so we offered them advice on how this would work. Okay? So we told them how to get content, what we need as an industry. So for GAPI, that's essentially the role we played.
No, I'll come again. Let me come to GHAMRO. GHAMRO, you've also been mentioned that you are part of GMX. What is your role in this?
All right, Kwame, I believe you were at
I was there
last time,
yeah.
And I mentioned clearly that would engage with GMX. You know, sales of musical works have moved from physical sales to digital sales. And so let me take you back to times when production of LPs and CDs were actually on the rise. There is a component of levy. I won't say levy, but in advanced countries where they produce the CDs themselves. You know, in Ghana, we consume a lot, so we actually import these CDs before we inject our musical works on it. So every reproduction that happens, there is a mechanical royalty component involved. So in the past, what was done is that, in fact, currently is being done, I mean, on CDs, the LI has been amended to include other gadgets like pen drives and other storage devices. Is that anytime a reproduction happens, the Customs Service through the Ghana Revenue Authority puts a levy on every imported CDs and cassettes. And this is what we call the mechanical royalties.
Okay.
Now, sales have moved from this physical medium to the digital platform.
Exactly.
And what's happening there is no different than what was happening in the past. Now, every stream, there is a reproduction that happens. So there is a mechanical royalty component. And with all the other major streaming platforms, currently GHAMRO does not have the monitoring system. So we signed with Capasso, I mean, South Africa, to do this monitoring for us. So GMX as a streaming platform will not behave differently. I mean, because definitely there will be works of our members on the system. And we also need to monitor the mechanical royalty component involved anytime there is a reproduction.
So is Capasso going to do that?
So now we are supposed to sit with GMX. And then, I mean, there have been conversations on this that has been going on, and then agree since the platform we launched will be operational. Currently it's not operational yet, so we can't actually go ahead. And once it's operational, and mind you, the vice president has also promised us to actually provide us with the monitoring.
I'll come there. I want to finish with the streaming platform side of it.
Right.
Okay, so are you going to help in monitoring the consumption of music on GMX, the work that Capasso and Global Music Monitoring are doing for you now? Are they still going to do it with GMX?
So it's two sides. Once our system is ready, then we can use our system to do that. But once it's not ready, then Capasso will do that for us.
Okay, Akisi mentions that there is a GHAMRO component on the platform that government is supporting, and this platform or this component is going to monitor radio airplay and all that. Is that true?
Well, our interest in the streaming platform is the fact that anytime reproduction happens, there is a mechanical royalty component. And mind you, Kwame, streaming platforms abound, and you can't technically force a station to use a particular streaming platform for all their work, and unless there is a law or there is, I mean, a legal aspect of it. But so far as I'm concerned, you can't force a radio station to use a particular streaming platform.
Okay, so you are the acting CEO of GHAMRO now. Somebody from GMX, who is director of marketing, is telling us that there is a component of the GMX streaming app that is going to be logged, into all the radio stations and monitor how music on the app is being consumed, or music is going to be consumed in general. That is what she said. Now, as CEO of GHAMRO, are you aware of any such arrangement?
Well, as I mentioned, Kwame, I believe she's actually speaking about a mechanical royalty bit. If it's that aspect, then of course, I mean, as a streaming platform, there is going to be the generation of mechanical royalties, which GHAMRO cannot.
So it means GMX as a music streaming app is not going to serve as a radio monitoring device. Can you confirm that?
Not entirely.
Okay. Now, you also say, or it's been said by Vice President Bawumia, that there will be another login platform for you.
For GHAMRO, yeah.
For GHAMRO.
Yeah.
Is that in progress?
I mean, it was supposed to have been launched, I think, somewhere last month, 30th, but unfortunately, there were some issues that we went to the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Japamesa, and presented, amongst others, our problems, like Xavier mentioned.
Okay.
I mean, the business of the industry is not moving. I mean, so we went to the minister. Amongst our problems, the monitoring system. So our legal framework, which we think is not in the best position, our login systems and all that, which, I mean, I'll commend the minister. He actually listened to us and then gave us audience to, I mean, government, which we rightly presented all these issues to. So I believe it's at the backdrop of this that the Vice President has given us assurance that he's going to assist in helping us in all these issues. I believe when you were there, he didn't only mention the streaming platform, he mentioned other issues, including our license issues as well. Yes. Yeah. So it's a whole 360-degree thing, the problems of the organization that we actually sent to the minister for audience and, I mean, for intervention.
Why was the launch of the GHAMRO login platform called off?
Let me use the technical problems. I mean,
from whose side? From GHAMRO's side? From whose side?
Because it was in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, particularly the government. So I can't permanently say that it's the ministry's problem or it's GHAMRO's problem, but obviously because there are two institutions working, then it means that we have to work in hand. So if one institution says this, then the other has to also accept and then move.
Is it true that GMX is in charge of the whole setup for that login platform?
No.
Okay. GMX is not in charge of
GMX as a company.
Yes.
No.
Okay, but do you know the company that is working on that?
Because we've not launched it yet, so I don't want to preempt all these kind of conversations here.
Joy 99.7 FM. I'll come back to you on the same GHAMRO thing, but let me come back to Richmond. You said you had a rebuttal to make on what Seven said earlier on. Yeah.
Yes. I wanted to make the point that I believe that a platform like GMS, if it should work the way we had it to work, would be a brilliant platform for our industry.
Okay.
My reason is simple. For the 100 artists that we know, they are good. They are doing well on Spotify. They are doing well on CD Baby, Lala, Rhapsody, everywhere. They are good. However, there aren't 100 musicians in Ghana. According to the 2021 census, there's a whooping 100,000 musicians in Ghana. There are people who are at Fanchinico nobody has heard of, but they've got some 50 people who are willing to buy their songs. There's somebody elsewhere who has 1,000 people who will buy their songs and things like that. And these people are unable to compete on a Spotify, on a Boom Play or anywhere. So if there's a localized platform that allows all these 100,000 people to sell to the people they are already selling to, it's a workable idea.
Okay, so you think it's a good idea to have GMX sell the local market?
Yes.
Okay. Joy 99.7 FM. Do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, I was asking, why can't they compete on Spotify and other ones, but you think they'll do well in the local one?
It is not every artist that we know who is outside who is even competing on these platforms because they don't have the necessary structure and everything. However, as an industry, we need to grow them, to give them the knowledge, to give them the resources to be able to compete on the international platforms. For now, this is home. They've got a few people who are willing to buy their songs. Let's help them sell, be able to empower themselves to be able to get onto at Apple Music or Spotify and compete properly.
What you're saying doesn't 100% resonate well with me, because what you're saying is that it's like the artist can have a bigger market, 100 million or more market, and you think it's okay for him to stay on the 10,000 a market with only 10,000 people buying this, possibly buy his stuff. I mean, it doesn't make too much sense. Like, they can have a wider audience. Music is music. I mean, you have I don't say the weirdest people, but you have like the most non-conventional artists. out there on Spotify and other streaming platforms making money. You only have to know, like you're saying, you have to grow them. Yes, you have to know what it entails, because I don't think GMX is going to do all that work for them, because what you're saying is will actually make some of these artists lazy, because they'll think that GMX will do everything for them. And I heard the vice president say, yeah, they'll promote you, they'll market you. No, they are not going to do that. I doubt they are going to do that. It's okay to use that as a gimmick to get people on there, but we know they're not going to do that. On Spotify and these other places, if you want marketing and these things, you pay for it. It is not charity. It's about time we see that these things are not charity. People sell these things to us as if it's charity, they're doing us favors. No, I rather would not like to, I don't want anybody to make any type of promises or charity to any musician. It is work, it is competition, it is hard work, right? You have to do it on. You can't just be sitting at home and being lazy and think, oh, GMX is there, everything will work out. So don't sell it to them as if GMX is the savior of everything. It is not. Whatever it entails, if it works, they still have to work to make money off it, because I doubt there's some money there for them to just come and take. GMX itself has to work 10 times as hard, because it's not as if we are all waiting to subscribe to it. No, the companies are not just waiting, all of them are just waiting to give them ad money. It's work, a lot of work. Okay. And like I said, they are competing with the Boomplays, the Spotify's, and all these other. There's some Dondo. I'm not sure if you've heard of Dondo. There's a bunch of other ones that are working. So we shouldn't really see it as they're coming to save us. No, they're not coming to save us.
I don't know what you see from where you sit, but it's okay. You can see the glass as half full or half empty. Ghana is a part of the International Trade Organization, and yet we felt the need to be part of an ECOWAS community for trade. I understand what you're saying. Ultimately, that should be the goal. Compete everywhere. But where I sit, the people I deal with, the labels I deal with, most of them don't have the capacity to compete. And so let's empower them. Let's build their capacity. But it doesn't mean they are not selling. There are people who are playing. You get to some communities, there are artists who play. Their names are mentioned. People scream their names. People want their music. People buy their music. Some of them do pen drives and sell. However, to be on Spotify, I need credit card, debit card, and those things. They don't understand our situations here. A GMX will understand what the Ghana problem is. Give a Ghana solution. And then our people can empower themselves and be able to compete anywhere. So that's where I come from. Not GMX as GMX. Any platform that is geared towards empowering our people, looking at our problems and solving it. There's a revenue problem. And the biggest of it is that all these avenues for making money are relying on PayPal, credit cards, debit cards, and only 15% of our population have access to these cards. So we cut a whooping 85% of our people off the market. So if there's anything that brings them home, I'm all for it.
And GMX is mobile money payments.
Are there any other streaming platforms in Ghana, local ones?
Yes, there are.
Which ones?
There's Uptown.
And there's Uptown. That Uptown is the one that's working. But hang on. Before Uptown, about 17 years ago, there was mp3africa.com, owned by Kweku Indu. And then about 10 years ago, there was Red Play, that was also Ghanaian owned. Before we had Uptown, and then now this one. So a few people have tried, but nobody has had the sort of support that GMS has had. If we had given that kind of support to any platform, well, our conversation here would be different today.
All right, join 99.7 FM Superstation 0551111997. If you have any questions on the GMX Music Streaming Platform, you can just drop them and we'll get them read right here. Let me go to Appier-Sign Solomon. He's a software engineer. The last time we interviewed him on a streaming platform, he told us until we reduce the visibility of foreign platforms, a local streaming platform will find it difficult to survive. Appier, do you still hold that opinion?
Yes, sir, I do.
So GMX is here. What are the prospects of this app or this platform?
Okay, so greetings to your listeners. I feel most of the items have been touched, and it's more on an execution level, as in how they push this. If we will leave our gates open and everything can just enter, and we still expect people to kind of use this platform as we expect, I feel there will be a challenge, considering the fact that content-wise, looking at what the other platforms will promise, and also the fact that you are going to pay. So if, for instance, I'm paying, say, a 10 cedis a month, and I already have a subscription somewhere else, so I'm doing YouTube Premium, and I'm paying Ghana cedis. I'm doing Spotify, and I'm paying Ghana cedis. So first, let's not make it feel like GMX will be the first platform to give us kind of a Ghanaian feel when it comes to payment.
Okay.
Right. So just basing on that is not enough. That value, I feel, is not enough to get them at the level where they can properly compete with the global guys. The other time, I also mentioned that it's okay to have that local platform. However, what I feel will be a challenge is, I don't think, based on what we have been used to, we wake up one day and decide not to consume foreign content again. So if we are still going to do that, and I have my active subscriptions or other avenues where I can get those songs, go there and can still get these songs that I can get on GMX there, why should I exit that app and come into another app just to listen to a song or two, then go back if I feel like I want to flip artist or genres? Right, so these are things that we have to look at, that even if it's free and I can't get everything I want, and I have to go somewhere else where I can get the same thing, and have to just come here because I want to listen to Ghanaian songs, I don't see how that is going to sell. So that's also one of the things I want us to look at. I don't know the solution to that, but I feel it's a problem.
Have you gone on the app?
Yes. So with this going on the app question, I've been on the app several times. Even right now, I'm on the app. Right. And first, I want to commend them for taking some of the issues I identified serious and fixing some of them.
Okay.
So I think last week or so, when the launch happened, I think it happened on Wednesday. So on Thursday, I was minding my business when I had calls and messages from some industry players and friends asking me if I've seen it. So I just decided to go check it out. So I tried on my Android device, I saw it. I tried on an iOS device, I saw it. So I first identified two main problems with the consistency in designs and how they are presenting data, as in what they show. But that's not a problem. I feel it's okay. If I don't have both devices, I wouldn't even realize there's a glitch in there. So I moved on to get into the application, where there was a sign-up process. I went through the process, and there was a funny part of it where I felt I was able to log in, as in create an account, but I felt like it didn't work properly. And trust me, not everyone will see what I saw because of my background. So I decided to play around with it, or basically say exploit it. We do that intentionally to even advise the creators that someone can use these vulnerabilities to exploit your system. So block here, or go about it this way. So I started doing that to find what's wrong, why I was able to do what I did. So we realized that there was basically no authentication going on. And authentication is basically saying, I'm Appier-Sign, I'm Kwame Dadzie. Really, I'm Appier-Sign and I'm Kwame Dadzie. That's what it means. That's why on WhatsApp, for instance, you enter your phone number. They don't just leave it like that, but they check, is that phone number active? Do you have access to it, or does it belong to you? So they send you a verification code.
Exactly.
Then you go through a process, then you are in. Now, I was expecting same, but before we even get to the verification part, the major issue was that there's a validation before the authentication. The validation ensures that the data matches the expected pattern. Let me put it that way. So I used an email. And usually an email comes with a username, the @sign, a subdomain or a domain name, and an extension. Right. So on top of my head, if I'm validating an email, I am going to look out for this part of an email to be present. Unfortunately, it wasn't working as expected. I put in wrong structures, wrong patterns, and I get to register. And I'm able to register with the same email multiple times. So I shared it with some industry players that this is what I've realized.
Okay.
So what basically to enable me extend that information to them that this is what I've seen. So they have to check it out. Unfortunately, they didn't take it in the way I expected, right? And
they were not happy about
and they
pointing that out to them.
They denied it basically. They just said it wasn't true. But the app was out, and I asked that people try. And immediately on that call, those in the studio confirmed. Today they've worked on some.
Okay.
Yes. So now, if you have tried with phone number, the verification is working. Cool.
Okay.
It's a good thing. So kudos to them.
So
however,
it means they listened.
Yes. So and it would have been easier, and I could even assist better if they had accepted in the nines. Okay, what can we do? Then, because even this, there are other things that we still have to talk about. But I'll skip that and touch on recommendation.
Good.
So, when you stream from YouTube, Spotify, all of them, you realize even if you are not in an album and you do a single song, for instance, I go there because I've Shazammed a song, or I go there because I went to search for a song and I start listening. Immediately that song completes or finishes, and another song comes in. That's what I mean by recommendation, right? And the reason they do this is because the more time you spend on these platforms, the more money they make. So the plan is to keep you there.
Okay.
So if your recommendation is broken, then you are basically dead. That's what you're saying. Because then I may have my phone there or my player playing and it stops. Now, if you are going to charge per play or per stream and the streams are not going on, how do you promise artists that you are going to make money? I searched for a song. A tall list of songs came in. I picked one. I played it expecting that I will see recommendations, or after that there should be recommendations, but the list was empty. So basically it's just that song that was sitting in there. And again, this is a very big problem, in that if the promise is to make artists money, and the only way they can make money is when people stay and stream, and you are not recommending properly, let me put it that way, then that promise, you have to look at it again.
Appier, is it not because they are still, loading songs onto the platform?
Cool. So that means
Seven. I beg. So
no, I'm asking as a novice. I don't know.
So they are still loading. There are songs there. So if you've seen the platform, I get it if even Spotify is receiving new content today.
Okay.
So it's not going to be an excuse to say I'm still getting data, so I can't recommend. There are three main ways for building recommendation systems. And note, I have built this several times, so I'm not just saying it.
Okay.
There's acoustic fingerprinting, and that is how Shazam works. You realize no matter where the song starts, if you Shazam, it's able to tell you which song that song is.
Yeah.
That's done by generating fingerprints of the song and storing them somewhere. So you go with a byte of the song, it's able to match it and tell you what that song is. So that's one way of finding songs that are closely related. If you have a system that is doing this behind the scenes, that system should be able to tell you that if you've played a hip-hop song based on BPM and based on how the graph or the patterns are, this song is close to it, even if the languages are not the same, right? So the fact that you are receiving new content does not mean you cannot even build a system on this to start automatically recommending songs. Now, you can do recommendation based on music data. So I claim my song, and I'm using claim because it can be false. That's why you can't build a recommendation system just based on metadata. So if I come and say a song is dancehall or high life,
yeah,
and I have another song that is also dancehall or high life, then that's very simple. I can pick one dancehall song, and when it plays, I look for other songs that have similar genres and line them up to play. So that's the simplest one. Then there's also one that is more of what others are listening to.
Okay.
And that is where the user profiling comes in, the login or the sign up bit. So when you are profiling, you are just, for instance, taking phone numbers and names. There's an issue. And the reason there's an issue is if the phone number doesn't really tell you anything, right? I can be, let's say, I'm a 15-year-old guy. And because of my generation, you can base on that. So that data you have of me being a male, maybe located in Accra.
Yeah.
I'm of this age. I said I like these songs, and another 15-year-old guy comes in. You don't want to take them through the same process. You start recommending. Would you like to listen to these guys?
Yeah.
Because another 15-year-old guy is doing that. So that's also another way to recommend. However, when you sign up, you don't go through this process. If you have used any of the other guys, you go through them. When you sign up, they'll ask you, which artist do you want to listen to? Just choose one. And because the artists are linked together, for instance, if I choose Davido, I'll see a Wizkid, I'll see an Asake. If I choose Sarkodie, I should see a Manifest or something, right? So when you do this, you kind of guide them to give you the data you need to serve them well. But if this is missing in the onboarding process, then I don't know how this recommendation is going to be built.
Maybe they're still working on it, awaiting January to take off properly. Let me come to Uncle Ken before I come to you, Seven. Let me come to Uncle Ken and then pick his thoughts on all that you've said. Uncle.
Yes. Kwame.
GMX streaming platform is here with us.
I'm enjoying.
Have you signed on already?
Oh, yeah. What's up? I have too many CDs to play and to worry myself with streaming. But the fact of the matter is, I am enjoying the conversation because these guys here are giving me an education into what is happening on the streaming scene, you know, and what happens with the platform. I listened to the voices you played, and then you played the voice of a lady, Akisi Ackah. I listened to the voice and I said, I know this voice. So I've heard her speak on various platforms, but I have not really paid too much attention to the voice till today when you played back her voice. And listening to Akisi, I said to myself, wow, I know this lady. She used to work with Unilever back in the day, early 2000s. And I worked on a project with her for Joy FM, for Joy Marketing Services. We did a mentorship program to schools in 3 regions in Ghana. That was Central Region, Ashanti, and Greater Accra. Mentoring the students in 5 institutions in each of the regions with past students from those institutions. And Akisi and another lady were in charge of the project from the Unilever front. So I said, wow, I thought I was going to see her here today.
She's supposed to have been here,
but unfortunately,
she'll be on phone later.
Akisi has not been here. But there's one thing I applaud her for. I said, this girl used to be in marketing at Unilever, and now she's on this new platform, and I have to say kudos to her for the ways they have been able to get talkability about this platform. Because now everywhere you go, they're talking about this platform, DMX. And I say, yay, Rabbi, she's smart. She learned her job very well at Unilever. And they did this just by getting government involved, one way or the other. Whether they are actually involved financially or not, the inclusion of government through any of the governmental institutions or whatever has gotten people talking about it. Now we need to concentrate on the platform and what it can achieve for the musicians. So when I hear people raise issues about operations of the platform and what have you, I say all well and good, but we should not let the raising of issues dampen the probability of the platform being good for Ghanaian musicians. That is where I'm coming from. I have listened to conversations. I have my own questions, you know, about the platform. Mr. Sign was talking about recommendations, which you get. Basically, me, one of the platforms that I use, I get recommendations, is YouTube. I look for a particular song on YouTube to play, and I immediately, after the song is played, there's another song recommended to me, you know, to listen to. But I would say for this platform, it's new. It's now building the catalog. So maybe they might not be able to do recommendations today because they haven't gotten enough material for a particular song that you play for them to recommend another to you. It's very new. Let's give them time. They might be able to do all those things, but they are useful issues to raise, you know, so they learn from it. They learn from it. I also like the idea, I must say, that this is solely a Ghanaian music platform and that they're going to go back into time as much as they can for us to listen to music from back in the day and all that. When it comes to subscriptions for the platform, they need to take into cognizance the fact that they need to be competitive, because the established platforms that we have their subscription rates, you know, for people who go on those platforms to pay. If we are not competitive enough for people who want to listen to Ghanaian music, and like Science said, there's Ghanaian music on other platforms that people are already on. Okay, so he posed the question, what would make me want to leave that platform and come to this GMX platform, you know? So those are issues they need to take into consideration and look at. Again, payment for the Ghanaian people will, I understand, will be by Momo.
Yes.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is good, because that is what we know here in Ghana. Richmond raised a very important issue in his submission when he said, if you look at the number of people who use those established platforms and their status in life and come back down to us here in Ghana, there are so many people who know so many musicians locally who are not on those international platforms, but can be on this Ghanaian platform. And if I can go and listen to a favorite artist by paying Momo, using Momo to, you know, get to listen to that, it helps. And there might be lots of people that we have not thought of. I also think that the payment, the subscription issue should look at people who live outside Ghana and are not maybe even Ghanaians, but might be interested in listening to Ghanaian music. So they should have the ability to pay by Visa or other means from where they live.
Yeah.
Because if you restrict the payment to Momo and I live in the States. I don't have Momo.
Djibouti.
But I have a card. I think they should look at that also to help people from those places be able to access the platform. All in all, we should embrace the platform. Look at the issues and try to solve the issues as we go along. But if we have heard other people outrightly condemning the oh, it's not going to work. And we are very prone to thinking that way in Ghana. We always shut down any new venture.
Maybe they've done their studies, feasibility studies, to know
Kwame,
what is ahead of them.
Yes, Kwame, you can do visibility studies on a particular matter today, and therefore say that because it did not work today, it is not going to work tomorrow. And you could be wrong. If you correct all issues that are raised and work on getting it to work, let's be positive. Accentuate the positive rather than always trying to look down on anything we try to do in this country. Me, that is my problem. Let's look at the positives, look at ways to make it work, and hamper all that other than belittling the initiative.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ken. And of course, we're doing that right here. We are pointing out the things that we think could hinder the progress of the GMX streaming platform on Joy 99.7 FM Superstation. My name is Kwame Dadzie, and it's exactly 5 p.m. We're having a conversation on GMX Music Streaming Platform, which was launched a few weeks ago. And according to the owners of the app, it will be operational starting January 2025, and so you need to just go there and start, just go and travel, just take a journey on the app and see how it works. I'm in the studio with Uncle Ken. I have Seven Xavier, who is president for Ghana Music Alliance. Appier-Sign Solomon is a software engineer. Richmond Adu-Poku is a lead for Ghana Music Live, and then the general secretary for GAPI, and then Jackson Breto is acting CEO for GHAMRO. 0551111997 is our WhatsApp number. You can send us a WhatsApp. Any question you want to ask, you can do that right now. Later on the show, we'll be speaking to Akisi Ackah as well and find a few things from her. So you can also be part of this experience on social media. You can just interact with us with the hashtag Showbiz A-Z. Let me come to you, Seven. I think when somebody was talking, you wanted to talk.
I think I've had so many things I wanted to say, but Uncle Ken, thank you very much for the submission. But we have to school you on how new things were, not CDs anymore. The new so you understand where the problems are. But I think Uncle Ken said the lady Akisi has generated a lot of talkability. Yeah. But you see, I think the thing is, and I'm always the guy who can actually sometimes say these things, it is more the negative side. But of course, publicity, whether it's negative or positive, I guess is good anyway. And I think people are just wary, or people are just felt a certain way because it was a 4-hour program that we went to for the launch. Yeah. 4 hours long again. I was hungry. They used 5 minutes to show us images of the app, not even the app working itself, just for 5 minutes or less to show us. The rest of it was campaign, and that was where people have problem with. The rest of it was all campaign.
When you say campaign, what do you mean?
Oh, they were playing Sifia, and we are dancing.
But that was music. It's a music program.
It was a campaign. I mean, people were wearing elephant shirts.
is good music.
I know it was. I love it.
But Seven, what a launch is. Yeah. A launch of a project is just to announce the project. Yes. Coming into being, and at a launch you don't get the nitty-gritties of the project.
I know, but this
was a pre-launch.
You still get more than
because the project has still not started.
Exactly.
This was a pre-launch.
So I mean, based on what Uncle Ago Ken just said, then this was not a launch, this was a pre-launch. Because the platform isn't working, it's going to work in January.
Okay, let me talk more. So it's just like people felt like, oh, this was more of a campaign thing for the vice president and not the actual. So that's where a lot of sentiments are coming from. That is where people haven't said it.
Yeah, I heard people say that as well.
Yeah, people are saying that. People are saying like it's why. So that is where the whole, I guess, the negativity of the whole platform thing came from. And to me, if they said they were not funded by the ministry or anything government, they should have definitely tried to separate themselves from it.
Yeah.
And see, that's where the mistake is. And also, so all these promises, what if the vice president doesn't win? Does the app store? Does GHAMRO get their management information systems? Does the monitoring systems work? Because everything is contingent on the vice president winning to continue his term. And it was more like, vote for me so that this thing will actually work for you. That was what it was. It was like a bait. Vote for me. If you don't, my guy, it won't work. But if you do, it will work for me. And then 2025. And it's like, why would it work in 2025?
That's a risk they were prepared to take.
Okay. It's a bad risk, though.
Yeah, it could be.
Are you sure it could be? Or
I agree with you. I'm saying it could be. It could be a bad, because I don't know who would win.
Oh, you do.
Oh. So who's going to win?
I don't know. You're wiser than I am. You should.
So who's going to win? How do I know?
We don't know. I'm not sure anybody knows.
But yes, like
Nobody
I said,
knows.
the app itself, I have no problem with it. The business is what I have a problem with.
Right.
I mean, because the whole thing is, if they had talked about the rates they were paying, it was never mentioned.
Yeah.
GHAMRO, you take mechanical rights, they have royalty have rates. What are the rates you're going to charge them? What are the rates that's going? Nobody knows.
We'll get Akisi online very soon.
They don't know either. She talked about the splits. I actually went after she asked about the splits, because the splits is not supposed to be with. Then the splits will be at the distro level, the distributor level.
Right.
Okay.
That's where the splits are. Not use the streaming platform. No. So there's things that I think they've been advised, which are wrong in terms of like actual music business. They're not supposed to do certain things, because like right now we're asking about what are they monitoring? Why is the streaming app monitoring TV and radio? And they said they're even monitoring bars, and I like, come on, it's like, to me, they should concentrate on trying to build a streaming app, and that's it. Anything else, because running the app itself is not a joke, and I also fear that it's like, we can do it because we are. Maybe will be funded by the ministry to keep that to keep musicians happy, like basically handouts for musicians for a while. Because the thing is, it has to be a continuous thing. You haven't really worked out where your revenues are coming from. Like, we should have been told the revenues be this, will be this, will be that. Like, I thought we were going to a proper launch where they were telling us that year 1, year 2, year 3, this will happen. They said we are here now, and in 6 months, we're probably on the beta version. The 1.2, 1.3. This is what we aim to do.
Maybe there will be another launch
in 2025. After you vote for me, vote for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, John 99.7 FM. We have some more time to kill right here on Showbiz A-Z. We're back after this. I'm here with Seven Xavier. Okay, even off air, we're having a conversation already. Appier-Sign Solomon is also right here with us. We have Richmond Adu-Poku, Uncle Ken, and Jackson Breto, and we're still discussing the GMX streaming platform. Let me come to Appier-Sign. Appier, so how much will it take to put up or establish a music streaming platform? If you have any idea.
As in money?
Yes, how much?
Oh. It's difficult to say. The reason is I have to sit down and analyze a lot of things, such as the traffic you even expect, right? Because there's this part of our work called auto scaling.
Okay.
Now, auto scaling here in Ghana, you realize I won't mention names, but around certain times of the year, when certain platforms get very busy because people have finished exams, they tell you the system has gone down. So you have to wait till midnight or early morning to check and get results. This is because you have, let's say, just for example, Kwame Dadzie being the only one serving everyone. The system gets overwhelmed and it gives up. So to solve this, we have a solution called auto scaling, which instructs servers to kind of call other servers of the same kind with the same knowledge base and abilities to come and help them serve the traffic they have. That is why Facebook has millions of users and it doesn't go down. Because if traffic drops, other servers will go and sleep.
Okay.
If it rises, other servers will come and join and it will serve you. So for me to say it will cost $1 or a CD, I'll have to ask you some of these questions. That what do you expect? Like, what's your estimation? If you start today, in the next 2-3 months, in the next 1 year, what do you expect the traffic to be? Even the type of devices, the versions that people are going to use to consume that app is important. So that I can even tell, we call something SDKs, software development kits. That's what we use for the Android systems and the iOS devices, to tell the, should I say, the oldest version to support. So I can say I want to support from maybe Android 9. All of these things I have to gather before I sit and start putting things together and tell you to make it work properly. This is what you have to put into it. Yeah. So I can't just mention, but I can say it's not going to be chicken change. Yeah.
Can you give a range?
I won't give a range, but I'll say that it's someone's core business, right?
Yeah.
And it's a huge industry. Streaming, look at what DSTV is doing now with their streaming platform. Like, they've changed how we consume their content now. If you don't know, recently, if it has not topped yet, it's almost battling Netflix with subscribers. And I feel it's because they have live content and it's football and we like it. But yeah, they have been able to get there. However, it didn't happen by chance. It's because they dedicated time. They do all of the 9 stuff, like automatically detecting your internet speed and serving you the right content that will not get the video to buffer for a long time or to cut. All of these things I expect it to be basic features. You don't talk about them because it's been there for years. So if you have it, you don't say I can do this. It's nothing to write home about, but you have to do them. I was doing a test. I reduced my network quality to 2G. I was playing a song and it didn't play at all. I'll do the same on Spotify, YouTube Music, and it will serve me content that can stream on a 2G network. So it is not something that we just feel like I can develop an app so I can put streaming content there and it works. Now there's one core thing that we have to note when we are building streaming platforms.
Okay.
Now the main protocol on the internet is called HTTP. Currently we use HTTPS, which is a secured version of the other one, right? It is, or should I say, it was mainly for text, as in not media. It can serve media, but that wasn't the intention. Now there's another protocol called UDP. HTTP is more like someone who is decent, pristine, and makes sure that things are in the right order. So when you send your messages, even on WhatsApp, the way you send them are not how they arrive. But when they get there, the system is supposed to rearrange them in order and serve.
Okay.
UDP doesn't care. So because HTTP will take time, it takes time. So it's slower as compared to UDP, which will not matter. If I send my voice today, it will pick it as it receives and dump it. So it's faster. So you use such protocols for streaming and not HTTP. So some of these things are things that we have to know before we even start writing the first line of code. Otherwise, we will go very far and we'll have what we call technical debt. You have a lot of things to fix. Uncle was saying maybe they are new and they are now getting the card. That's debt. You do it from day one. So when are they going to have systems to start indexing properly, recommending properly? They will still have to do it. So you get it right from the onset and rather fix it and find out as in optimize the processes so that it works better. But you don't just start and hope that it works.
You still haven't given him a figure.
He doesn't want to.
It's difficult.
Let me come to Richmond. Have you been on the app?
Yes, I've been on the app.
You've been on?
Yes, I've been on the app.
How does it feel?
I think I'm the one who signed the link.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I think so.
He's one of them. He's one.
What's your assessment of the app?
Sincerely,
yeah,
based on what I've seen in the past and what is in the system and what we're looking to do, I genuinely feel that the launch was premature. Ghanaians are quick to accept and quick to dismiss, especially the kind of people we are catering to as far as the streaming platform is concerned. So when people get on there, they expect to see premium. They expect to see what they are used to. And so we do not serve people 40 artists, 40 out of 100,000 artists, and say that, oh, we are starting in January, we will have a lot more content. What happened all through the period that we were building? How do we have just 40? And then how do we have a platform that's supposed to help us push our podcast? And then we go there and we see Joel Austin, Duncan Williams. What's that got to do with streaming and what we're talking about? But there's library. There's so many proper Ghanaian content that could have gone there from the beginning. So sincerely, I think there's a lot to be done. A lot more time should have been taken, and a lot more care and thought should have been put in building the platform. And I feel the opportunity that was used to launch should have been used to remove the hurdles that will not let the platform work. Ghanaians are just not naysayers. People have seen this before. That is why they say it will not work. There are problems. There are problems in the industry that will ensure that this doesn't work. So when you have access to government on that level, and it's only government that can solve, and it's only government that can solve some of those problems. Why not use government to deal with those issues before you put your things out in January when you are ready to?
But can't we still fix things after it gets operational?
Like I mentioned, we are quick to accept and we are quick to dismiss. By the time you fix it, will the people be there? How many people will still have your platform on their app? Sincerely speaking, had it not been the fact that I have an interest in the platform because of the people I represent, it would have been off my phone. Kwame.
Okay, Uncle Ken.
Kwame,
you have a question?
I want to ask Richmond a question.
Can you please write that?
Launch.
Yes, I want to speak to Akisi before.
Oh.
Akisi is on phone right now. Okay, so let's go online and speak to Akisi Ackah, who is director of marketing at GMX. Hello.
Hello, good evening to you and your panel and dear listeners.
Good evening, Akisi. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, thanks. And my apologies for not being there. As you must have indicated, this is our trial period, and I would have loved to be there to receive the feedback, firsthand. But nonetheless, I'll pick from, all the conversations that have, happened already, and then we'll carry on.
Thank you very much. In the first place, let me get your designation right. Are you Director of Marketing at GMX or Omni Strategies?
Director of Marketing at GMX.
Okay, thank you very much. And so we've been looking at the GMX app since its launch. Let me ask, how has the onboarding been so far? Are people, signing on to the app?
Yes, it's been interesting and it's been growing exponentially, actually. So when the day after we launched, we had a meager 84, and then the day afterwards and the day afterwards, it's grown into thousands now, and it keeps growing. And we are hopeful that once we have a lot of the catalog uploaded and a lot of the features that we talked about activated, then we'll get more people interested in staying onto the platform. And this, we are actually committed to doing that, in quick time, so that we are not waiting until January to have everything covered. But then before January and into Christmas, we'll have a solid platform to celebrate our Christmas with.
What are some of the concerns you've heard so far after the launch of the app?
There have been concerns mainly about, the sustainability of the platform. People's concern have been that, especially with the recent, happenings around some of the international platforms, how are we going to be able to pay our fees, and what are we going to charge for subscriptions and all that. But all this is considered ahead of time. For instance, when it comes to the subscriptions, we know that we are a local operation, that's one advantage that we have as well. And because of that, we've actually, inscribed into the platform a payment mode on mobile money as well. We also have activated the options for the usual PayPal and the Visa cards and the Maestro and all those as well. So then it's your option. I mean, it's your prerogative which one you prefer to pay with. You can do that. And the subscription rate, I will not announce it now, but it's definitely going to be competitive, lower than what you pay for international streaming apps.
Akisi, before you go on, I remember during the launch you mentioned 9.99 Ghana cedis, right?
Yes, we mentioned that, and it's going to sit around that. Yeah.
Okay, please continue. You were saying something.
Yeah. So again, with regard to the payments of to artists, to royalties to artists, we are a local operation, so we don't, for instance, have the heavy overhead that the international streaming operations would have. So that in itself is an advantage to us, and also gives us the opportunity to be able to, honor our promises to artists as well. So that's also one of the feedback that we've received, or concerns that we've received, that we have it under control.
Prior to the launch of the GMX app, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, he mentioned that one of the reasons for bringing or establishing this app is the fact that he believes the foreign streaming platforms are not giving our artists their due. Are you telling us that GMX is going to pay our artists more than they are paid from by the other foreign platforms?
That's positive. So that's also part of the announcement that we will make into the future, that will be offering our artists better, royalties than the international streaming platforms are doing. And mind you, they're also a business, and they do that based on other parameters. If they look at their whole universe of subscribers and their whole universe of listeners and artists, majority are coming from their side of the world. So, and very little attention is coming from, our part of the world. So why would they even offer more? But that's where the reverse happens when it comes to GMX. It's a local platform with local music from all corners of Ghana, from the little village, the little hamlet somewhere. Whoever wants to put up some song, put it on it. So that in the end, we have some sort of a repository of our Ghanaian music on GMX for us. And then we can actually also have a very formidable, stage to also present ourselves on the global platform as well. We have a stronger voice. Yeah.
You also mentioned during the launch that you are inviting podcasts and live events and all that. Tell us more about that.
So, in engaging with our artists, so these are some of the offers that we are actually putting across to them to say, when you are actually recording your song, we can have some sort of your backstage recording, put on the platform, just to create more interest and engagement with your fans. And then also, once you have your shows planned out, you can also sell some tickets on the platform. And also, if you have some merchandise that you want to have your fans, don on, you can also sell some on the platform as well.
During the launch, you also mentioned that musicians will have access to their split sheets. Are you dealing directly with split sheets?
It's a fee. So, however we are collecting, data from the streaming platform, will feed into the split sheet that has been, integrated into the whole system, so that the whole, sharing of the royalties is all, according to what has been agreed on. So there's no, conflict anywhere.
Okay, so we need clarity on this particular one. So on Hit FM last week, you mentioned that there is a GHAMRO component on the streaming app which allows for radio monitoring of music. Is it for music on the streaming app alone, or for every other song that is being played in the country?
First of all, on the streaming app. But then depends on how GHAMRO wants to develop further the system. then it can go further. But first of all, on the streaming app.
If you're doing that, are you then not taking the work away from the new login platform that is being created for GHAMRO?
We are not taking charge of the monitoring and then the revenue collection. We are only feeding into the process. So our data feeds into that process. Yeah.
And you say government is taking care of that component of the streaming app, right?
So that's the conversation GHAMRO is having with the government. So we are also feeding into the process. So in the end, it's supposed to help the whole industry. So in solving the royalty concerns within the industry, and also when you're streaming, there are also royalty inputs in there. So it's all how we all work together to make sure that we are feeding into a system that GHAMRO can leverage to monitor, royalty.
What specific support is government giving GMX?
So really, I know this has actually brought about a lot of conversation, but in actual sense, just what we were talking about with regard to GHAMRO and collection and royalty, linkages and all that. This conversation you cannot have outside, keeping the government out of it. We are a private sector, so what we can do is to approach the industry. The industry also is working under the Ministry of Arts and Culture, so that's where all the conversations come in. The industry supports their agency, so if they have to support the private sector, then we have to come into the conversation, talk to them, let them understand what our vision is, what we are also trying to do to support the industry while we also build our business, and then we can all work together. And also, the very fact that our proposition sits on building Ghanaian music, this actually is a big part of our culture. And we are trying not to leave anybody behind. If you go on Spotify, majority of our musicians are not there. But if you come on GMX, where we have uploaded as much content, majority of our artists will be there. So we are actually boosting local culture. We are boosting who we are as Ghanaians when it comes to our music. So that's where we need a conversation, the government to also help us elevate that voice, amplify this whole quest to be able to build our culture on, with our own means, rather than have somebody tell our story for us. Then they'll tell it their own way and not how we want to tell our story.
Akisi, for those who laud the idea of the GMX streaming platform, they're also concerned about political affiliation, and they fear that in the event that this government is not re-elected, you might have problems with support from government. Do you think about that?
We are actually, like I mentioned, we're working through the Ministry of Arts and Culture. So it's our hope that we will continue our engagements with the Ministry of Arts and Culture. And indeed, GAPI we've approached, indeed, Musica we have approached, GHAMRO we've approached. These are apolitical agencies, so then we can continue to work with them. It just so happens that the Vice President, we all label Mr. Digital. He's very interested in digital initiatives. So that's how come we also leverage the kind of weight he also brings on to launching digital projects. That's all.
You mentioned Musica, you mentioned GHAMRO, you mentioned, and I've heard of GAPI as well. How did they contribute to the establishment of this platform?
So these three bodies actually hold our music industry. So you cannot do anything without consulting them, engaging them. You will not succeed otherwise. So that's how come we approached them, we listened to them. They gave us some inputs, we've incorporated, we're still working on some, and then, so that's how we can actually be able to feed into the music industry. We cannot do it by ourselves.
Have been suggestions, from people like Solomon Appier-Sign, who is a software engineer, regarding how to even enter your details and all that. I don't know if you listened to him earlier on, but he also mentioned, recommendation, as in once somebody listens to a song on the app or the platform, how songs that have been listened to will be recommended to other people. And he mentions it's very important to maybe get more details of the people that, you know, log on to the site. Are you taking some of these things into consideration as well?
Actually, one of the features of any streaming platform is to be able to recommend, you know, playlists and songs to users. So that's actually part of the plan. At this stage, we are still in the test phase, and we are still uploading content, and we are still, you know, once you have more users as well, then all those algorithms, I'm not a tech person, but I know all those algorithms will be put together or it will be activated somehow, but it's actually part of the plan, and you cannot have a music platform where you cannot recommend to your listeners. It's part of the enjoyable process. You would want, you know, it feels good when you're on YouTube or some other platform and you're being suggested songs to listen to. It feels good. And we want to give that same experience to our listeners as well.
Thank you very much, Akisi Ackah. Okay, so before you go, Uncle Ken Addy is here, and he has a question for you.
Oh, wow. Uncle Ken.
Akisi.
Yes, Uncle Ken.
Good to hear from you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I have a question. You say the platform is for solely Ghanaian music.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know what will happen in the case of collaborations between foreign artists and Ghanaian artists. If, for instance, the foreign artist engages a Ghanaian musician on his composition, will that qualify for your platform?
We have actually discussed this, and where we've got into it to say the big question of who owns the work. So whoever owns it, if it's owned by the Ghanaian musician, yes, then it is a Ghanaian song. But if it's not owned by the Ghanaian musician, then it's not. We cannot label it as a Ghanaian song. But we are still discussing, and then we are open to the industry for more advice on how we spread on this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, before you go again, the musicians that want to put the songs on GMX, do they do that directly by themselves, or they give the songs to GMX to upload?
So they can, there are various means of doing that. They can, you know, I think at this stage to approach us, and then we walk you through the process and upload the song on your behalf for you. That makes it easy. It's one trouble off your shoulder. We will take that load off you and do it for you. And also, we are also in touch with some distributors to see how we can also upload a lot more content, you know, in a short period of time. Yeah.
In what format should these files be?
So can I advise on that? You know, the format. Really, I'm not really. I have to check on the
that's fine.
Format, yeah.
That's fine. Thank you, Akisi Ackah, who is marketing director for GMX, and yeah, she just spoke to us about the streaming platform and how it functions. You just heard it for yourselves. Okay, let me come in here. Let me start with you, Jackson Breto. Jackson, you are acting GHAMRO CEO. I know for a fact that we have the global music monitoring. We have capacity. You still have business with them, have deals with them.
Yeah. Yes.
So they still monitor for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And now this particular app is going to monitor radio. According to, you just heard Akisi. You heard her because I asked you earlier on and you were not too sure about it, but she just reiterated.
No, I only heard her say that that would depend on GHAMRO's engagement with them. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, our engagement with them specifically, it's on the tangent that GMS is a streaming platform.
Okay.
And like Seven mentioned, once the system is fully operational, then we need to actually have a broader discussion on the rates of mechanical royalties that we are going to charge and all that kind of stuff. That is the business of that aspect. Like I mentioned with the monitoring, it's an app, and she actually mentioned that you can't actually stream outside the app. So it means that you can't force multimedia to use GMX for its operations.
She's explained that now.
Exactly.
But initially, that wasn't the understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then it means that multimedia could actually choose a different streaming platform for, and GMX can't. I don't know if you see that connection.
I get it.
Yes. So on our side, like I mentioned, what we are going to do, we have even started with them. I mean, trying to have an interest in the mechanical royalty generation for our composers, authors, and publishers. So beyond that,
What about the performance? I don't think performance royalties.
oh, performers are part. I mean, composers, authors, composers, publishers, performance and record labels, naming rights, and all that. So that is the tangent of our conversation with GMS at the moment. Yes, and we are actually looking forward with the vice president's support on getting us a monitoring system as part of our GHAMRO management information system.
Okay.
To actually, monitor real time.
So this system that is being provided, for you, GHAMRO, how is it going to work? How is it going to benefit the musician?
All right, thank you, Kwame. You see, GHAMRO's problems, it's enormous, and
we can't say all together.
yeah. So you see, the monitoring system is one part. So in our age we are in now, I mean, I took over quite recently, and it's not nice when our members have to walk to our office to update their works. It has to be remotely done. And that is why some of us are eager for this system. And look at our age, we are eager for this system to work, because our present age, I mean, a CMO like we are trying to hitch towards should not allow its members to come from far,
come and register,
to your office. So that is one part. That is one part of the solution. Another part of the solution also is that it's going to monitor radio airplays. Now,
all radio stations in the country.
All radio stations in the country. Now, the reason I say it's not going to entirely solve GHAMRO's problem is that the radio stations are also part of our problem. But when discussions of such nature are raised, I mean, the radio stations put aside their problem and then focus on.
So you talk our problem. Talk.
Today I'll tell you. Today, I'll tell you.
2 minutes, please.
All right. So, radio stations are supposed to pay royalties.
Yeah.
If you look at the best international practices, then if you intend to perform a work or broadcast the work, you are supposed to actually log with GHAMRO that this month, this week, this day, I'm going to perform A, B, C, D works.
Yeah.
Then you tell you the rates attached to every single work. Now that law is not yet passed in Ghana. So what we do is that we submit a blanket invoice to you based on your categorizations and all that. And deliberately, radio stations, I will even say 95%, they don't pay. And it's not that GHAMRO is not going to them to claim these monies. In most cases, it ends up in court. And Kwame, you know our legal systems. Our case with Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, 7 years in court. Judgment was passed 8 March 2024. And we are still in court because the money is not in. And these are the problems GHAMRO faces, that at the end of the day, if whatever we are able to collect, go through these struggles to collect and we distribute, it ends up, artists bashing GHAMRO that he's 300 cedis, he's 400 cedis, because the legal framework is not rightly positioned. Like radio stations going to NCA for a license, and NCA is supposed to check that, have you cleared yourself with GHAMRO because you're going to use sound recordings and all that. We don't have that laws yet. And I would equally keep on advocating, yes, that we need some of these laws and policies to strengthen our industry.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ken. Okay, so this will be your yes, please, yes, please.
This really
1.5 minutes. I like that.
Oh, then
do
that. You see, he has just told us that they have a problem.
Oh yes, they do.
And the problem they have, he keeps saying that radio stations have deliberately, and he's used that word several times today, deliberately refused to pay. But what are they supposed to pay on? And you have also told us that there's no law determining how much they should pay.
What do you pay? How much do you pay?
How much do you pay for a stream? And so they go about giving them a blanket figure to pay. Now, the radio stations, knowing their stand, know that, so many lobby tell me how much I should pay, and you come and then you throw any figure at me. Why should I go out of my way to pay you that figure? That is what has happened, has gotten them having so many cases in court that have not been resolved. So as for me, the GHAMRO matter, they have not been up to task in pushing their stance to force government or the Attorney General's department or whichever department it is to give them the law through which if somebody does not pay, you have something to stand on to take him to court.
Exactly.
Because the cases have delayed because there's nothing to stand on those cases. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to do okay?
So,
a quick one, please.
Yes. So, based on the blanket fees we give to radio stations, it's based on their categorization and then the usage of music,
and that is arbitrary.
Of course, like it's not cat food. I mean, very scientific. And in the worst case, when it ends up in court, judgments, like I'll use the GBC case for example. So we had been going tete-a-tete to GBC for quite some time now, and per international practices, we're supposed to charge about 5% of radio stations revenue. Yes, that is what is supposed to be done. 5% of the radio stations revenue as royalties. So we went as far as that point with GBC. Yes, and then we had the negotiation where they were supposed to pay 2% of their revenue on radio and then 0.5 on TV. When the judgment came on 8 March 2024, they were supposed to regularize this payment from 2014 to date with GHAMRO. But we still have to go back to court because GBC has not done that.
Okay. What about the MTN one? Did you get the money from MTN?
Yeah, so MTN, because we didn't have the monitoring systems, we are unable to log to have the data to MTN.
Seven, they can't get money from anybody.
Now, Seven, let me take your final words on this streaming thing, or if you want to say anything about it before we go. 1.5 minutes.
Well, yeah, like I said, the streaming app itself, I have no problem with. It could work. But what I'm concerned about is the business of it. And they think of artists as people they are helping. She kept saying we're helping and we are. No. They are doing a business. You're doing a business. We are doing business together. Nobody's helping anyone. It's strictly business. Like, I've been saying that for a long time. Like, we should stop the help. A record label says, I'm helping this artist. That after a year or two, you see what will happen. Then so the guy doesn't respect. No, it's business. That's what it is. So yeah, we should leave that language alone and know that it's business and arrange
always
the
been on about the record company helping somebody. We've always been on at this since I've known you.
So nobody's helping anybody. It's business. Also, I like Mr. Jackson very much because obviously like I'm the GHAMRO, Grim Reaper.
You've been giving them fire.
I like him so far because he's saying things that I haven't heard my past enemies say.
Seven, please, you are
Rex and Captain. Anyway, but no, he's saying that like the 5% of the revenue and all these things that he's saying. Like, definitely, I'll say he's a learned guy, and I hope he wants to work because if you want, you can only work if you want to work. Because in our opinion, a lot of musicians see, isn't it weird that GHAMRO never has the backing of any musician? Because I think in the past, I'm not trying to say your present post now, but in the past, like, they've never really had musicians, right? Because musicians should be able to rally with them, saying, "Oh, the radio stations are not playing." They should be able to like rally and speak for you, back you, but nobody would.
It's been the same with Musica. Current musicians don't back music.
Oh, Musica, there's a whole different.
Thank you. Seven, are you done with your submission?
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
okay, let me come to sign. Appier-Sign. So before we go.
So first, I was a bit disappointed when the Akisi, right?
Akisi,
wasn't able to tell in which format. Songs were should be submitted, because it plays a huge role in being able to, should I say, re-render it in suitable forms that can stream on multiple, or should I say, varying internet speeds. So if you get it wrong from the start, now, GHAMRO, I'm also very, very disappointed. at this age,
yeah,
you are applauding him. I don't know why.
I said he's learning.
I don't think you should commend him for anything. Because if at this age today, 2024, you are telling me people have to work and do submission and all of that, like,
he just came.
He says they are changing it.
He just came. I'll give
with
him
the
the
introduction of the platform, yeah, they will change it. Yeah.
And what I have done with GHAMRO in the past.
Kisima.
Yes, you can't come and say all of this.
Kisima Day.
So,
okay.
If it is not deliberate that they are not doing the right stuff, now he's here. Let's see. But trust me, we will come here in some few weeks or months, and he will tell us the same thing.
Pressure.
Oh, we're hoping that we're hoping that we will see some change very soon. Mr. Poku. Yes. Do you have any advice for GMX or for GHAMRO, or you want to advise GAPI yourself?
So the GAPI people say. GMX.
Yeah.
Brilliant idea. However, their biggest problem.
Yeah.
Is piracy. They have government. They should use government to fix it.
There's no reason. Are you saying GMX or GHAMRO?
GMX.
Okay.
There's no reason why anyone will buy music they can get for free. Their second problem is catalog.
Okay.
How do you give us 40 artists out of 100,000 and tell us you are launching? They've got to get a proper catalog. If they say they are getting all Ghanaian music, they should get it. And they have to understand the problems that they will face. In fact, a lot of the mid-range artists don't even own their catalog in Ghana anymore. So all the talk about Ghanaian platform, the songs are owned by the Chinese. So that is a problem. That is a problem they don't probably even know exists. Their third problem is technology. People should they should make sure the tech is up to date. People are used to what they find on Spotify and everywhere. If it is not smooth, we don't want it.
But
so they've got to
raise
care.
all these problems with them?
There is nothing I have said here I have not raised with them.
So, but why did you
I have not only said, I have written, and I think in my opening remarks,
you had all these problems and you still have
in my opening remarks, I made the point that they have listened to some of the points that we have made, and they are yet to implement others. Their fourth problem, which they need to deal with, is marketing. They have to market from an industry point, have the knowledge of the industry, and market from that point. Not market in the sense of market, because this industry and marketing and everything here is different from everywhere else.
So, thank you very much.
No, Kwame, I beg.
Richmond Adu-Poku, the lead for Ghana Music Live and General Secretary for GAPI. A very big thank you to you, Jackson Breto, acting CEO of GHAMRO. Thank you. Me Uncle Kennedy.